Hey there, Scoobies. Coming off the heels of the two-parter that fundamentally changed the lore of the show and moved the story on, it's time for a Monster of the Week. And though not the best episode or monster, you have to give it to John Ritter for making the middle-aged family man disturbing. The episode opens on Xander and Willow, who are arguing about the captain and Tennille, and who really had the power.
Who are these people?
Now, I'm with Buffy on this one. I had no idea, and I had to look this up. Turns out, Captain and Tennille was a husband and wife recording duo in the 70s. They even had their own variety show. The argument is one of power. Who had it? Was it the man in the hat? Or the woman behind the scenes? You could easily pose this question to Spike and Drew's relationship, but how does it play out in the context of this episode? Willow asks about the Order of Taraka, and Buffy confirms that the contracts have been cancelled in a nice little bit of house cleaning. As the Scoobs get back to Buffy's house, she comes home to find one of the most traumatising things for any teen. Buffy has a heart-to-heart with her mum, while Ted is ingratiating himself to her friends. Even in this opening scene, there is something off about Ted, and kind of creepy in his mannerisms. Like Buffy, we are meant to get the ick.
Ew!
Buffy takes her frustration out on a vampire, while Giles attempts to reason with her, and gives up.
Any others?
For their sakes, I certainly hope not.
Vampires have always acted as an allegory for fighting our demons.
And then vampires come, and they run around and they kill people, and they take over your whole house. They start making these stupid little mini pizzas.
Subtext here is rapidly becoming a text.
The next day, Landa is still lusting after mini pizza, while Buffy continues to obsess over why she doesn't like him. Her heart is speaking this selfish truth, but it's Willow that perfectly articulates what's going on.
I think maybe we're in Sigmund Freud territory.
He has a point. Separation anxiety, the mother figure being taken away, conflict with the father figure.
Xander articulates it in a less mature way.
You're having parental issues. You're having parental issues.
Xander.
But there is something else to this. As I pointed out in my Defense of Xander video, he clearly comes from a home with parental issues, and the tease in here is because he's finding a kinship that somebody close to him may be feeling the same way he does with his own parents. And despite all the talk of Freud...
Ted!
Where's Ted? What do you think I was talking about?
Giles goes to see Jenny, who has given him the brush off.
Pretty flimsy excuse for coming by to see me.
I'd be angry, except she does express her emotions in a healthy way. Although, knowing what we do, it's pretty hypocritical of her considering. Buffy is bandaging Angel's hand while giving him the rundown of Ted, which seems like he is being tortured more than he's been in a while. She's bandaging his hand after the ritual of Drew from the last episode. Again, I have to take my hat off to the attention to detail. At minigolf, Ted takes a little too much interest in Buffy.
He's only interested in, her studies.
I bet that means your grades will be picking up soon.
After a foul shot, Buffy decides to cheat, this having an adverse effect on Ted.
Right is right, wrong is wrong. Why don't people see that?
We get a reference to Ted's true nature.
Right, it's just a game, do your own thing. Well, I'm not wired that way.
This is also where the gloves come off, and he makes his first reference to harm, before supplying her friends with drug-filled cookies. Back home, Buffy gets into it with her mum about the situation, and for once I kind of get Joyce's position. Life as a single mum is most likely very limiting for her, and probably a lonely existence.
But I guess, it's not exactly like men beat down the door when you're a single
parent.
I mean, she does go on to ignore her daughter's concerns and not believe her, but we'll give her a pass, this time due to the being drugged thing. Buffy talks to her friends about investigating Ted, and they are being uncharacteristically negative, while chomping on their cookies. Cordy goes by and Xander compliments her look, which gets the following response.
What are you saying?
Nice outfit?
Well, why don't you just keep your mouth shut?
Xander and Cordy agree to keep their fling a secret from their friends.
You want to go to the utility closet and make out?
God, is that all you ever think about? Okay.
Buffy continues to convince Willow that something's up with Ted.
Different, like happy?
Like Stepford.
This is a nod to the satirical feminist horror by Eva Levine about housewives so subservient they may as well be robots. Buffy attends Ted's work.
Nobody beats the machine.
Uh-huh. If Ted's empty desk isn't weird enough, Buffy finds that she's been folded out of a picture on the desk. At dinner, Joyce is complimenting his cooking, but the concept of them being engaged has Buffy distracted. This is the third occasion that Buffy has refused food made by Ted. I wonder if this will come back around. After being sent to her room, Buffy naturally sneaks out to go on patrol.
Here, vampires.
Ted is waiting for her to return, and we finally get the standoff we've been waiting for.
Take your hand off me.
No.
I was so hoping you'd do that.
Buffy continues to wail on Ted, which results in them believing him to be dead. Despite the upcoming twist, At this point, Buffy doesn't know that Ted is in fact a robot, and so, with this in mind, there are dynamics at play here that we need to consider. The first and easiest to acknowledge in the pretense that we think Ted is human is that this is a large adult man assaulting a teenage girl. The physicality bullet pointing mental abuse and gaslighting that has already taken place. The second is with Buffy as a slayer. At this point, she has no proof that Ted is anything other than a human being, and she goes looking for a reason to go full force on him. And though Buffy has the right to defend herself, that's not what this is. She is, for want of a better word, superhuman, and if Ted had been a real person, then she would have killed him. And this would not have been through self-defense or to save the world, but because she didn't like him. BTVS is all about growing up, and here Buffy learns a lesson.
With great power comes great responsibility.
As the body is carted away, the police question Joyce, who straight up lies for her daughter.
He fell.
Now, I've bagged on Joyce a lot as a parent, and will continue to do so, but this, here, was doing right by Buffy. Her daughter, on the other hand, tells the truth. She's almost talking to the middle space between them. Not necessarily to the officer, like she's realising just how fragile people can be next to her. Buffy is interrogated further at the station, showing real-world consequences to her actions. There is a quiet scene of Buffy and Joyce driving home. Neither speaks. Maybe they don't know what to say. The scene may be short, but importantly, so much is being said through their lack of words. At this point, as far as they are aware, Buffy is responsible for killing a man that Joyce was falling for. She obviously had to try to protect her daughter, but what does this do to their relationship? Unfortunately, this doesn't get explored more here. At school the next day, Buffy seems to be retreading the steps from What's My Line Again? But this time, rather than the anxiety of thinking there's an assassin around every corner, she feels like the assassin that everyone's wary of. Buffy opens up to the Scoobs, coming to terms with what she did.
It was an accident.
I'm the Slayer. I had no right to hit him like that.
They aren't much help, and she bails only to run into Giles. In the library, the Scoobs are looking for a way to get Buffy out of trouble.
But she's like the Superman. Shouldn't there be different rules for her?
Sure, in a fascist society.
Right! Why can't we have one of those?
Back at home, things are still awkward between Buffy and her mum.
I didn't mean to hurt him.
I don't want to talk about this.
The Scoobs figure out that it may have been the cookies making them so compliant.
I adore you. Well, that's the cookies talking, but you rock.
Giles is on patrol when Jenny sneaks up on him.
Yeah, I get that reaction from men all the time.
Seriously, Giles, how are you meant to fight the legions of the undead when you are being snuck up on by school teachers? Meanwhile, Buffy is bored of her grounding when...
Well, it's official. This day can't get any worse.
Beg to differ.
Despite not being the biggest fan of Robo-Ted, I do like this little catchphrase that starts out innocent enough before having a more menacing meaning later. We then get a showdown, flipping between Slayer and Watcher as they fight for their lives. Jenny manages to shoot Giles in the back, which makes me feel that they are more even. Buffy discovers what Robo-Ted is before being knocked out. Xander, Willow and Cordelia are sneaking around Ted's address, and I like the small point that it's the aesthetically aware Cordy that picks up on the carpet.
Yeah, and this rug, it doesn't go with the rest of the decor.
Ted confronts Joyce with a series of lies and comforts with his creepiest line yet.
Don't have to worry about anything. Daddy's here. Daddy's here.
Heading into the basement, the Scoobs find...
Feels like home. If it's the 50s and you're a psycho.
Buffy wakes up as Ted conveniently knocks out Joyce, and the two get into it. Sarah does a great job here with her eyes. You get the real sense that despite everything Buffy has seen, she is still shocked to see an actual robot. The episode ends with Buffy still quipping,
I wish I could be so sure.
Trust me, he's on the scrap heap.
and the Scoobies happening across my favourite part of the episode.
Okay, that's it. I give up.
Like many episodes, I feel that there's a lot that this episode is trying to say, but it falls into the same pitfalls as many of Season 1 episodes, where the delivery falls short of the message. There's a good lesson here for everyone when wielding power over others, be it physically or mentally. In this case, the role reversal gives Buffy a unique perspective, in the physical sense, seeing what it's like to be able to easily overpower Ted and what happens when she allows emotion to rule her in the same moments. I did feel that this was a little bit of a wasted opportunity, as they brought him back and revealed that he was a robot and all was okay. I can't get over the idea that had they not done this, and had Buffy genuinely accidentally killed a person, would have been a very interesting look at what that may have done psychologically. But that isn't the show.